Hello, I'm Richard Chandler. I do a lot of career counseling, and this is Sandra Anderson. And Sandra is also somebody who's a master's degree, licensed professional clinical counselor track at this stage. And she is going to be asking me some questions about career. And I'll do my best to answer them. So go ahead, Sandra, ask the first question.
Yes, I'm curious as to what is the history or the background to the career counseling program that you have right now?
It's based on a lot of real world experience of not only certainly having career and jobs myself, but also it's based on my work really over 10 years of being a career counselor. I really, basically the basis is this: we look at a person and all their interests, their aspirations, their history of career, and their experience, and kind of what they bring to the table, and really trying to find that out, as well as using some psychological profiles to really, so they understand themselves much, much better. And then we look at that on one end to get clear on what kind of things they want over on this side. Then on the other side is, what does the marketplace really have that potentially could be a good match for what they offer to the marketplace? And because I do a good deal of executive coaching and business consulting, I know the marketplace well also. So for me, it's a matter of really getting clear with my clients, my career counseling clients, what they really want and what do they bring to the table, matching it up with what could be available, and not just locally anymore, depending on what they're into. It could be nationally, even internationally, using formats like this.
It sounds very person-centered.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it's very individual.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. What inspired you to start this?
Well, I've always been very interested in people and their lives, and our work, our careers are such a large part of our life. And to have that be a happy part of our life and a successful part is very, very valuable. And it shouldn't be thought of lightly, but actually more intentionally. And so I find real value in that. And actually, when I started my practice in psychotherapy, I actually started out first as in career counseling while I was obtaining my licensing and my master's degree.
Wow, so you really have been doing it for a long time.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. And then I remember you telling me that you were an Adler graduate, and I know on your website it mentioned that you're influenced by Adler and Jung. Can you tell me a little Jung? I mean, I say Jung as a joke.
That's right.
Can you tell me a little bit more about that? Like, what influences it that way?
Yeah, with Adler, what we're really looking at is to really understand ourselves in terms of not only what we're good at, but also what we're maybe having some struggles with, and have that kind of real candid evaluation of ourselves, both what we bring to the table and what we may struggle with a little bit, and work with it well enough to be confident that we can be okay. We can actually excel and attain a mastery at what we do. And with Adlerian philosophy, the idea is to obtain mastery, not to be better than others or compare ourselves with others. It's not about status. It's about mastery in the service of contribution. So the more mastery we have, the more of a larger contribution we can make, whether it's in our personal life or on our certainly our work life. And
Right.
with Carl Jung, that's again other ways of knowing ourselves in terms of archetypes, in terms of where we see ourselves in the whole trajectory of our life path. Some of those kinds of ideas, very, very valuable.
Yeah, and especially the Adler one. When I think of Adler, I think of community.
Yes.
And a lot of jobs are surrounded by, you have your community that you engage with while you're at work. So it makes so much sense that Adler would be a great addition to our career consulting program.
Yes, yes, absolutely. Because the basis of Adlerian way of working with things is how do we belong and how are we significant? Yeah.
I love that. And that's a question that some people are wondering when they're wondering what the career is best for them, is like, where do they belong? What are they good at? And how do we figure that out, kind of a stuff.
Absolutely. That's
Yeah,
it. You got it. Yeah.
I get it. Yeah, that's okay. So then your role in this particular program is
Well, it's usually when I see people for career, it's usually a 3-session format. That works best. The first session is really getting to know them really well. When they were a kid, what they were interested in, what they liked doing when they're a kid, what their hobbies were when they were younger. Maybe as a teenager, they'd like to do particular kinds of things in the arts or sports, and what that was. Even though they didn't do that in a career, that can inform the kinds of things that really speak to them and really help them be happy. And so we look at all of that. We look at all the kinds of work they've done, the kinds of studies they've had. It's a very, very thorough interview process. And as well as the kinds of things they might aspire to. What kinds of things would the person be interested in?
Right.
In the second session, we evaluate 2 different assessments that I use for career. One is called the Strong Interest Inventory, which uses the career philosophy of a person named Holland, and also someone named Strong. And it's a really good assessment. I do that with all my career people. It's not that expensive. It's very valuable. And I also do a very sophisticated version of Myers-Briggs. I'm a Myers-Briggs master practitioner, and those 2 things help inform the kind of work that they would be happy doing and that wouldn't wear them out. And so that second session is really looking at that, and then looking at it in light of everything they told me in the first session. So it's very specifically applied to what they told me during the first session.
Right.
And then the third session is really putting it all together. Okay, now that they've evaluated all that, and usually there might be 2 to 3 weeks before the third session, sometimes longer, where they can really soak it all in. Then we really start to say, okay, based on all of this and what you're interested in and what the assessments show, where might we start to really hone in on what exactly you want to do and what's possible for you? If people are willing to move, it's really fine. They can pretty much do anything that they're interested in. If they're not, then we have to be more creative. What you can do that's maybe not exactly what you want, but within the ballpark, within your local geographic area.
Okay.
Yeah.
So would you say that that third session is usually it's kind of done then, or do you keep going sometimes, or?
It's usually done. It usually is. And then if we keep going, once in a while we do, but we're usually talking about larger issues in terms of their life as well as their career. How is it affecting them? Maybe they're in a committed romantic relationship. Maybe they have some special difficulties. Well, I'm okay with moving, but my spouse wants to, or spouse or my romantic partner wants to stay put. And, so what about those kinds of challenges? So it's still career oriented, but much more involved in their life and how they're going to navigate through all of this.
Right.
Yeah.
That's really cool that it only takes 3 sessions. That's a good selling point for people, because people don't, a lot of people sometimes get kind of frustrated with the therapeutic process, thinking that it takes too long or there's not a solution quick enough because they're going through such,
Right.
such a difficult time, that this, I think, would be a great thing for people. 3 sessions, that's awesome. I had no idea.
Yeah. Yeah. And the cost of the assessments, which aren't too much.
Yeah. Okay. And you started this program, and how many people do you have with you?
Well, right now in my practice is as we're doing this video, is currently me. It's a real likely that at some point my wife will join me in the practice.
Okay.
Yeah, and then I have other team members, but they're not like employees. They're really more people that do website things for me,
Okay.
that do email things, so I have other people, but it's more of a virtual team.
Wow, your website makes it feel like there's this huge team of people. I don't know, it makes I'm picturing you with a bunch of people and helping all these people with their career stuff, but that's not it.
Yeah, well, I help a lot of people. I mean, I do this full time. I just have a real big website. I have a real robust website.
That's
because
awesome.
I think that's important. I like people to have a lot of information about me, so they feel confident in actually utilizing me as a therapist or a career counselor.
Right.
It's important for people to be well informed, and a lot of people then, I asked them how they chose me, and they said, well, we spent a lot of time on your website and we got really comfortable with everything that you had to say.
And your website is really clear as far as how it all works. I just didn't see anything about the 3-session thing, but I think that makes sense too.
My next move, thank you for that. I
Yeah.
need to package it that way. I didn't realize what a benefit it was. You gave me a gift today.
Yay, good. Okay. What would you say is the average person that comes through your doors?
I would say that oftentimes there are people in their, well, let me give you two. There's a lot of people that are high schoolers looking for a college major, or people in college that are really trying to hone in on the major itself or where they want to go for their career. And then a lot of times it's people that have been already in one career and it wasn't the best career for them, and they're hesitant to spend a lot of time and investment, like to go back to school, unless they're really quite sure of a next career. So a lot of times people in their 30s and 40s.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was thinking, like if I were to guess as being somebody who has no experience with it, I was thinking more along the lines of somebody who might be more of like a midlife situation or college.
Yeah, there's that too. There's that. I mean, 30s and 40s, that's midlife. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very much.
I guess my next question would be like, what kind of feedback do you get from people as they come through your program?
A real common thing I hear is after the second session or during the second session, when they're going through the assessment, how the assessment itself applied to their lives, which I've gathered that information for in the first session, really helps them have additional insight and aha moments of, oh, yes, I see this as more of a passion than I thought it was. I thought it was just something I did for fun, but I can see that there could be skills that I have in this area that I could develop more and actually get paid for them. And that happens with some frequency.
And I think this will be valuable considering how the economy and the job market is changing so much and helping people to really figure out where they fit. Because I think a lot of people are lost right now.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah, those aha moments and building that awareness and that insight is so important.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah.
Good. Assessments are very helpful with that. What do you think the future looks like for your program?
Well, this is, it's part of a larger package of things I do, because I do a lot of executive coaching and business consulting and even business partners counseling. I can connect the two quite well. It's not just, it's people's personal lives and the world of business and how the two connect together. And so I see it becoming more cohesive, and perhaps I don't see myself like starting a career counseling agency separate from what I'm doing, nothing like that, but rather my capacity to really have people hook up their aspirations and their real capacities with the real world. Mm-hmm. And that's enhancing as I'm working more in the business sector.
That's awesome. I like that direction. I think that makes a lot of sense for you, because it's also you're bringing all of your passions together, just like you're helping other people to bring their passions together. Yeah. Is there anything else about the program that I missed, or anything else that you wanted to add or you feel is important?
I guess one thing that you can go to a career counselor. Other people, you can go to career counselors. What's different is because of also being a psychotherapist, I'm able to oftentimes ask more insightful questions and probe deeper and in more creative ways than just kind of standard fare. And so I think that's valuable. Yes. And because I'm also so connected to the business world, and I have a good many company owners that are my executive coaching clients, I really know what they're looking for in people. And so as I put those two databases together of what I know about the individuals and the psychotherapy and the psychological aspects and what people are really looking for on the business side, I think that's the main thing, is just creating this cohesive whole where I can serve people in very practical ways as well as insightful ways. And so that would be it. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I like that. You're making me excited for my future
Well, good. I'm glad.
thinking about this. This is awesome.